Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namasami. All right, this evening I've been asked to give a reflection on walking meditation. So this is something that's done in all the Buddhist traditions, but it's done in a variety of ways. And it's probably not until one encounters the Pali tradition that they realize it's a very Buddhist thing. Like it's worked into the practice, the training, and that's why it comes out in all the different traditions in different ways. Is because it was there from the very beginning. And more so than just straight up giving a technique of walking meditation, I like to set the context a bit by asking a question, and you get the gears turning. So, are you in the space where you woke up this morning? Some yes, some no. So, how many times have you gone to the bathroom today? What, now that's a big number, yeah. But yeah, likewise. Have you eaten more than one meal? And are you in the place where you ate that meal? Well, now, those of you who are in the place where you're sleeping, you're probably not in the place you're eating, and vice versa. Have you gone anywhere? Yeah. Some yes, some no. Okay, so you probably see what I'm getting at, yeah? We have the Buddha in terms of Satipatthana, in terms of establishing our mindfulness, he set out as a very, very rudimentary structure, the four postures, and that is walking, standing, sitting, and lying down. And so when we talk about walking meditation, we're also talking about walking mindfulness and all that entails. We're talking about the posture through which we travel, through which we do activities where we're moving about. Now we have the posture where we're standing still and doing stuff, and the posture where we're sitting in one spot, and the posture where we're laying down, and those three are stationary. The walking posture is the only posture where we're potentially, covering a lot of ground, or very actively using our body, using our four limbs, doing different things. And so understanding that this is a huge part of our life, yeah. And meditation is going to be the applying of effort to abandoning the hindrances, to cultivate mindfulness, to making our mindfulness continuous, and leading into samadhi. Yeah. So this is the natural progression towards samadhi. And walking meditation is one of the ways that we do this. But unlike the other three, where we might be in one place, and we're probably very familiar by this point with structures that have us following the breath, or using a mantra, or being very stationary and basically letting the body go quiet. There's no way to do that while we're in the walking posture. We're actively using our body. But because this is such a huge part of our life, yeah, we're in this posture intermittently, dozens and dozens of times during the day. And for some of us, we spend a large portion of our day in this posture. It's really a wonderful place to also be applying mindfulness, also be developing mindfulness. So then the question comes up, how do we do that? Well, one thing to notice is that all of the principles that apply to sitting meditation, which we may be familiar with, will also apply to walking meditation. Yeah, we're going to be using the mind in the same way. So is really the fact that the body is moving should not be such a hindrance, but we do have to find a way to allow the mind to settle while we're moving. Yeah. And so that kind of implies that there is what we call wrong concentration, and this comes up a lot. People will say, "Oh, walking is my meditation. Going for a walk in the woods, or rock climbing is my meditation, or pottery is my meditation." And that's true in a secular way. That's true in a basic way. There can be activities that we do which, because they require so much focus, they allow us to let go of extraneous thoughts. Yeah. We're so focused on getting to this place. We're so focused on climbing. We're so focused on doing the dishes that we are not thinking about 1,000 other things. We're just thinking about this one task. This we would say is miccha samadhi, because it doesn't allow the mind to settle, even though it will allow the mind to concentrate. Yeah. So it will feel energized, it will feel calm, but not because we're applying our mind in the right way, but because it's just a byproduct of focus. When we focus, we can't be doing 1,000 things, and it seems like this is great. Yeah. But Samma Samadhi and the development of Samasati, right mindfulness, this is going to be where we're not actively doing something, where we're not forcing the situation to be a certain thing, but where we're opening our mind up to what's actually happening. We want to be aware of what's going on. Now, it is possible to have a mantra or to have a focus and to be directing our mind to a particular place. But this will take a slight amount of energy. Yeah. So likewise with walking, if we're going to be walking somewhere, if we are going to be walking on a path or on a road where there are a lot of obstacles, then this will require a certain amount of energy. Yeah. Because we're going to have to avoid obstacles. We're going to have to not fall off the path. We're going to have to watch where we're walking so we don't trip. This will keep our mind engaged a little bit with trying to create a certain scenario. Yeah. It will keep it active to a degree. So our mind will only settle to that degree. If we're in a very, if we're in a new place, we're walking on a path we've never traveled before. If we're in a very busy place, we're walking on a busy city street, then our mind will not settle much at all, even if we're not doing anything else. Yeah. Even if we're trying to be very aware of what's going on, our mind will stay active to the point that it has to. It's trying not to get caught. So in order to develop our mindfulness in a sense that's settling to the greater degree that approaches samadhi, we're going to have to create an environment where we don't have to use energy, where the thing that we're focusing on is just the present moment. And when we're able to do that, then we're not using any energy at all. And that's why being aware of something that's happening in the present moment is the best focus for mindfulness, because it's already happening in the present moment. We don't have to make it happen. Yeah. So it takes zero energy, which means all of our energy can, be into composing the mind. Yeah. Into just receiving that experience and being aware of it and seeing what arises, seeing what the mind is doing, and catching the hindrances that arise, dealing with them so that the mind can settle. Yeah. So if we are going to, there are a lot of ways where we can set the foundations for walking meditation all throughout the day. Like I said, we're going to be going in and out of this posture all the time. So giving ourselves an opportunity to be mindful while we do it. And what I have found is the best way to do this is to look at our tendency towards setting a goal. Now, one of the best examples of this is driving, right? If we hop in our car and we start going, we might not think of that as walking meditation, but we're traveling, aren't we? We're sitting, but our mind is very active and we're moving all parts of our body. Now, are we thinking about the destination? Are we fixated on the destination? And if that's the case, then we're going to be, the car ride is going to be empty of mindfulness. We're going to be aware. We're going to be heedful, but we're not going to settle at all because we're waiting to get to our destination where things will pick up again. We keep telling ourselves, I'm going here, I'm going here, I'm going here. And we're just trying not to get killed on our way to going there. Yeah. And I think if we translate that, in a lot of ways, that's how we approach walking. Yeah. We're like, oh, I want to go to the bathroom. And so we're in the kitchen. We want to go to the bathroom. We walk, through the hallway, down the hall to the bathroom and close the door. And now we've gotten where our destination was. And so that thought, I want to go to the bathroom, has stopped. It's no longer relevant. We no longer need it. But what happened to all the mindfulness during that path through the hallway? Yeah. Was it consumed by this thought, I'm going to the bathroom. This is my goal. This is what I'm trying to accomplish. And if so, did we miss 5-10 seconds of our life by being fixated on the destination, being fixated on the endpoint of that small journey? And now, obviously, yes, this is what we do. Of course, this is what we do. And there's no reason we shouldn't do this, especially if we've never been trained to do anything different. But now, allowing our mind to be mindful of that journey would be to say, I'm not going to focus on the destination. And it's interesting because probably the first thing that'll come up is, well, won't I get lost? Don't I have to have a destination? Don't I have to have a goal? I have to have goals in life to get somewhere, right? And really try it out. Can you get lost on the way to your own bathroom? I mean, yeah, if you get distracted. But if you're there for every second of it, you're thinking, I got to go to the bathroom, you're probably thinking about, you're probably very aware of the fact that you have to go to the bathroom. You're not going to get lost. Yeah. You've got this interest in going to that destination that will carry you through without having to fixate on the goal. Meanwhile, you can just relax around when you'll get there. Relax around the idea of, okay, when I get there, I'll get there. When I get there, I'll know what the next step is. But for now, I'm in the hallway. And there are sounds, there are feelings, there's air moving by you, there's the rustling of the floor or the carpet, yeah? There's the activity of your body moving through the hallway. And this is a small example, but now you take that to, getting out of your car and going into a shop. That's going to be 100 or 200 or 300 steps. And it's a minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Where if you had that same single-mindedness, like, okay, driving was one thing, and now going inside the store is the next thing, then you've lost those 3 minutes. When we approach walking meditation, we will find that however much mindfulness we have will be apparent. If we've been cultivating it through the day, and especially if we've been cultivating it in this posture, then our meditation will be much more smooth. It'll be much more accessible. Yeah, we've been cultivating mindfulness. So when we actually set to the exercise of cultivating mindfulness instead of the exercise of going to the store, going to the bathroom, or going to the kitchen, or whatever, then we will have all that mindfulness available. Yeah, the hindrances won't be very strong. So giving yourself a chance to try this, see if you can. But first, the easiest thing might be to go on a walk. Yeah, just actually go on a walk and somewhere that you're familiar with, somewhere where you're not having to dodge traffic or weave in and out of people on the street, and just allow yourself to walk and let go of the destination, let go of any time frame or looking forward to the next thing that you have to do, and see what this experience of walking is like when you're there for every moment of it. Now it's probably going to be a little in and out, and unless you've been meditating and focusing, you'll probably think of this and you'll get a little distracted. You'll think of that, you get a little distracted. You'll see a bird, you'll see a squirrel, a car will go by, you'll wave to a neighbor. Things will happen that will distract you. But for the most part, you might find that that one thing alone can help you start to develop mindfulness in this posture. Just let go of the destination. Now, you can start applying this right away whenever you're traveling. So when you're sitting down, you're going to be using the techniques that you use for sitting meditation, maybe paying attention to the contact against the seat or the feeling of air, or just having a mantra, going through your mind. Because your body is already very settled. But when you're walking, there's no easy focus like that. There's no sense of settledness in the body. There's going to be activity. Yeah. So you want to pay attention to something that's going to be constant. And for a lot of people, that will just be the posture itself. Just knowing that the body is moving through space. Yeah. And can you focus on that? You just feel the air moving by you. Feel your feet touching the ground as you step. Some people find that paying attention to their footsteps, either when one foot hits the ground or as each foot hits the ground. In some traditions, they even say lifting, extending, placing, lifting, extending, placing. I find that incredibly annoying and frustrating, but it can be done, yeah, especially if you're going slow enough that's not stressful. Yeah. But what I typically do is not even the feet, but I'll just pick some part of the body, maybe the collarbone or the shoulders or the hips or the knees, and I'll just the top of the head. I'll just let my mind stay with that as it's moving through space. Yeah. And it can be very interesting, yeah, because you don't realize until you allow your mind to pay attention to that it is moving a lot, yeah, and moving in kind of funny ways. Because again, yeah, if you've ever been mindful while walking, you know exactly what I mean. And hopefully you get to a point where this is natural, yeah, because we all have the experience of being introduced to the idea of being mindful of walking and suddenly being neurotic about walking. Yeah. Like, I've never thought about this before. Like, how do I do this? Like left, right, and we get tense. Yeah. There's like, especially if we're walking in a retreat center where we've got to get a lane or we've got to walk one behind the other as they do in zendos. Yeah. Am I going too fast? Am I going too slow? Am I doing this right? We're looking for a sense of relaxation, yeah, of naturalness. So this is same as with the breath. Don't make it be something. Just pay attention to what is. That in itself will be relaxing. We don't have to say, okay, breath, calm down, breath, calm down. That's not a great way to get your breath to calm down. You're kind of introducing a little bit of stress. It's the same with our walking. We don't think, I should walk faster. I should walk slower. I should be mindful. Just walk. Yeah. Just walk and be with the experience. Whatever that experience is, there's going to be some aspect of this that you'll be able to get used to. Yeah. Just like the steady rhythm of the breath, almost like waves coming in on the shore. The steady rhythm of your walking will be something that your mind can relax into. And when that's the case, you might find that your attention starts to expand. Yeah. So this is what Sama Samadhi is. We find Miccha Samadhi, wrong Samadhi, is our focus kind of gives us a nice little tunnel vision that blots out distractions. But Sama Samadhi is going to go the other way. Our mind is going to relax, so the senses are going to open up. That's actually the best way to let go of the senses, is realizing that we don't have to put any energy into them. There's nothing dangerous going on. There's nothing I have to focus on. Oh, look, it's all there. We just let our mind expand and get bright, get calm and relaxed, let all the tension fall away. Now, I've described what we can apply ourselves to whenever we're walking, yeah? And The first step is going to be just letting this happen. And just like when we start out sitting meditation, this is going to be, we're going to remember to do it, and then we're going to forget. We're going to forget for a long stretch of time, and then we're going to remember, and we're going to do it for a little while, and then we're going to forget. It'll be the same with walking. Yeah, we have to get into a rhythm and get used to being mindful of this activity, of not setting a goal and just anticipating where we're going to end up, but just going along for the journey. And personally, I've been with monastics and teachers who have been practicing Buddhist meditation for decades. And this is something I've seen with all of them. Even when they have somewhere that they're going, they have this sort of like laid back, like I'm along for the ride kind of mentality. Even there's one very, very well-known and renowned Buddhist monk who would never move in a straight line. Yeah. His body was very settled into his center of gravity. And as he walked, he would just kind of meander along. And if he took an interest in this thing over there, he'd kind of walk in that direction. He took an interest in this thing over there, he'd walk in this direction. He would get where he was going, but there was like no rush. Yeah. He totally didn't want where he was going to remove the present moment. And that's something that stuck with me. And I think if you see this or you experience this, that will also stick with you. This is the possibility we have. This is what we're going towards. Yeah. So I use this to set the foundation for walking meditation. Because if I started with a technique, you would think that this is something I can get good at. Yeah, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to master this technique. You're going to set up the perfect little walking path, and you're going to measure it out, and then you're going to and you're going to do a walking marathon. Yeah, you're going to be a power meditator. And that would just be an extension, and it's very normal, but it would just be an extension of how we usually approach our lives. Yeah. And that wouldn't be the goal of the exercise. Now, I do know another monk who jokes that there really aren't instructions for walking meditation in the Pali Canon. The Buddha basically, it just says a monk, was walking up and down by the river after the meal. And it says it's really good for digestion. It doesn't sound like it's an essential part, this 1/4 of mindfulness of the body that we should implement, mindfulness all the time. But that's how simple we want this to be. Yeah. We want this to be a relaxing activity. We don't want to make this into a chore. We don't want to make this into another, I've got to do this. Yeah. Also, we don't want to approach our walking meditation from the mindset of, well, sitting meditation is really where it's at, but I've got to stretch from time to time. So I'm going to go out there and I'm going to walk very vigorously to get the blood flowing so that I can go back to sitting meditation. And say if we do that, what we'll find is it's just like, walking to the store or walking to the bathroom. We've got our mind focused on the goal, which is the next sitting. Where if we set our mind state around walking as this posture, this opportunity to be mindful, that's really precious, then there's no way we could forget to do that when we've actually got the technique, the walking path, set up and ready to use for a walking meditation. I say very precious because as we start to give this a try, we will find that this is one of the most relaxing ways to meditate. Yeah, because it's actually pretty easy to be mindful and unattached when our environment is moving. And it's funny, but when we're sitting still or we're standing still or we're lying, especially when we're lying down, our environment is static. So we tend to blur it out. Yeah, we tend to kind of get numb to it. We just let it fade into the background, which can cause us to not to appreciate, not to even develop mindfulness. Yeah, usually we're having to apply our mind to something that we're a little bit interested in, so that we don't doze off, so that we don't drift off, so we don't fall asleep. But with walking, there's no real danger of that. Yeah, so it's another. It can be a very relaxing and settling activity, because there isn't that danger of getting of blurring out, of getting lost. The only danger is of distraction. And if we're really letting ourselves be in the moment, then that's not even a problem, because if there's a distraction, if there's something that's very interesting, but we keep walking, then it's behind us. And it doesn't have the opportunity to be a persistent distraction like we might experience in a sitting meditation. Yeah. So see if we can implement this whenever we have a break in activities. Yeah. And I said, if we're getting up and going to the bathroom thinking, yes, great, I get to be, it's like a mindfulness bell. Yeah. Right. I get to be mindful for the space, down the hallway. If we are getting out of our car and going into a shop, we're like, yes, I'm going to park far away so that I get extra time to just be with this experience of walking. And you all don't seem really sold by that, but I think it's a brilliant idea. You should park as far away as possible, get as much walking as you can in, yeah? And you'll never have any competition for those spots. There'll always be a parking spot in your favorite, space, yeah? But now, it's not necessarily easy to find these places where we can totally let go while we're walking. Yeah. Yeah. If we can't do it in our house, we can't do it as we're rounding corners, because just not smashing into the corners or not tripping on furniture is going to keep our mind processing a bit more than it has to. Yeah. And likewise, if we were just in any public space, it can be very tricky to get the opportunity to walk and not to be interrupted, not to be distracted, not to have obstacles, because people just don't plan for this long uninterrupted space for easy walking. Walking is for getting places, right? Our sidewalks are for getting places. Our driveways are for getting places. Nobody makes one that's just this casual, flat, smooth loop, so that you can drive in circles, or that you can walk in circles, without having to worry about bumping into something. And likewise, our social structures are not set up so that we can walk and not get interrupted. One teacher I had, he did a meditation retreat in Latvia, and he was out there, and he actually got together all of these Latvian Buddhists, and they rented this place, and they got together and they did like a week-long meditation retreat. And he gave instruction in sitting meditation, then he gave instruction in walking meditation. He told people to go out and find a little space, and maybe they'd have to clear a little space, yeah, because again, it's not easy to just find this big open space and anywhere in the world, yeah. So maybe they'd have to clear a little space or find a little patch of lawn, and they just started walking back and forth, and everybody else was so mystified by this, because they're in this like little village, and people just hang out the windows and just watch these people going back and forth. And I was like, what is wrong with them? What are they doing? What could be the exercise of this? Finally, this old woman is like hanging out of the window, and she's like, can't you just kick a ball or something? Can you like do an activity? Yeah. It's just like, don't just walk back and forth. You're driving me crazy. And this is what we tend to do. Yeah, we tend to fixate on things in motion. We tend to like, what does this mean to me? What is this doing? Yeah, say a bird goes by, I'm like, oh, yeah, a dog goes by, we're like, oh, a car goes by, and we fixate on it. Well, can we relax around that? But also, can we be relaxed? We realize we're going to be this thing that's moving through somebody else's field of attention. So as we approach the idea of doing walking meditation, can we find a place where we're not going to interrupt other people, where we're not going to be in people's, where they've got to get by? Yeah. And it's the same thing in sitting meditation, whether we have our own living room or sitting room, or we have to lock ourselves in a closet. We know that we can't just be on the couch in the living room and expect that people are not going to come and go, that or they're not going to sit down and want to watch TV. They're not that we're going to be able to meditate in peace. If we really want to meditate in peace, we're going to go to an office. Yeah. We're going to go to a bedroom. We're going to go to a closet, and we're going to create a nice little container, and we're going to let people know, hey, I'm meditating. Please just give me this time. And if you need me, I'll be back in half an hour or 45 minutes or an hour. We do the same in walking meditation. Yeah. Uh, uh, Even if we're going to be in the wilderness, we should consider, am I going to be on a busy walking trail, or am I going to have the place to myself? And if it's possible to get the place to ourselves, then that would be preferable. Yeah. Because we don't want like the most scenic walk. We want a boring place to walk. Yeah. We don't want to have sprawling vistas that are going to captivate our mind. We want to just be able to walk without getting distracted by things. We want it to be easy and comfortable. So look for a place that's relatively flat. And if we cannot find one, then I said relatively flat, or try to clear out a flat spot. Sidewalks are great. Driveways are great. Anything that's been flattened for some other purpose. Yeah. Or a patch of lawn. If we're going to do it in a patch of lawn, we might want to be careful that we're not going to create this path of flattened grass that's going to turn into dirt. Yeah. We won't win points with our the people who live with us if we create this big line through the lawn. Yeah. But maybe we can find a place out of the way. And picking a walking place, it could be quite long. If we have a stretch of trail that is flat, is free of obstacles, and we won't be interrupted, then there isn't really a too long for that path. If we could go a quarter mile, and if it's all flat and predictable, and we really experience that the mind lets go, then that's good enough. Yeah. And that's why the technique is kind of secondary to the approach. Yeah. What we're actually trying to cultivate is this ease and this mindfulness. Yeah. Being in the present moment. But most of us, what we'll find is it's almost impossible to get that much territory. But if we have too little territory, then we're going to be spending the entire time, we go 5 steps and then we turn around, and we go 5 steps and we turn around, and we go 5 steps and we turn around. So trying to find a path where, if we're going to be going back and forth and reusing the same stretch, that it's at least, 20, 25, 30 steps, so we can get that ease of just kind of flowing before we've got to stop and turn around. But we'll have to work with whatever we got. Sometimes in the dead of winter or during a rainstorm, forest monks have been known to have just a little space inside their meditation cabin. 5 steps to that wall, turn around, 5 steps to that wall, turn around, and that's what you got. Sometimes that'll have to do. But if you can, what I'd suggest is trying to move in the direction of that 20 to 30 paces. And that might mean clearing a spot in a garage, or it might mean suddenly you're walking by and you realize, hey, wait a second, the kitchen to the hallway to the bedroom is this straight line. If I were to move that dresser and move this chair, I'd actually have 20 paces from this room to that room. And this is great. Yeah. Any little stretch we can get where we have a nice, easy space. And then we walk natural again, even if it's, not a quarter mile, stretch of territory. That doesn't mean we want to walk at this incredibly slow pace. Still walk normal, or you have the same difficulty as with sitting meditation. You'll get lost. Yeah. You'll get distracted simply because things have gotten too simple, too blurry, too dull. Yeah. So set yourself a path and then walk. That's it. So in setting the foundation, I've actually covered all that has to be done for walking meditation. Yeah, there's no secret technique. The technique is the mindfulness. It is being aware of something in the present moment. And unlike the sitting meditation where you can focus on the breath, that doesn't work very well while you're walking. It doesn't work very well while you're moving. But just find something that you can pay attention to, especially on your body, because then you'll have something that's staying with you and moving through time and space. Yeah. And then being with that experience. If you approach this in the right way, you'll find that it's a joy, it's relaxing, it's energizing, yeah. And it's much more than just stretching before you get to your next walking meditation, or to your next sitting meditation. You find that you're actually using this as a way to unwind, and it's a very good way to unwind. You're using it as a way to reset yourself. Like if you've been sitting for a while doing some activity, rather than turning everything off and trying to do sitting meditation, the kind of change of pace of getting up and doing a little bit of walking, going out to your path and walking back and forth, or going on a little walk down this trail, that can help you reset everything, because you've taken all the goals and all the planning and all the anticipation, and you just kind of set it aside, and you're in a new environment. Yeah. And yeah, so I say the last question you might have is, how does this deal with samadhi? So our understanding of samadhi is probably bright lights, piti and sukha, like good feelings in the body, the mind getting very composed and bright, and going into the jhanas, right? Now, I have read accounts of monks who have gone into the jhanas while they were walking on the walking path, yeah, and they found that they were feeling these wonderful sensations in their body, and they were focusing on that, and that without even realizing it, they were walking slower and slower and slower, and then suddenly, like a half hour later, they realize, oh wait, what happened? That they've been in samadhi this entire time. And like, wow, it happened while I was walking. Yeah, most of us probably won't have that experience, because that's a level of letting go. I mean, that's up there. Yeah, you have to be really confident in your ability to stay standing, or relax your mind, to be able to let go to that degree. What I think most of us will find is that the very pleasantness of being in the present moment is what will take precedent. Yeah. So it's more approaching a walking meditation as this is building up that sense of, I'm not anywhere else. I'm just right here, and I'm enjoying being right here. I'm enjoying being in my own body and feeling the sensations and being aware of what's going on without being distracted. Letting that, the energy that comes with that, and energy leading to joy, leading to tranquility, that's probably what we'll experience. And for me, the walking meditation is the easiest way to access that. Yeah. I've done a lot of walking over the years, and I've walked in a lot of situations where I can't relax. Yeah. But when you get to a nice, flat, even walking path, and you're not going to be interrupted, and you just go out there and you just walk back and forth, you might find that the Buddha uses this idea of gradually stepping down the mind when it's restless. And the simile he uses is, say you're out walking and you walk for a while and you realize, oh, I feel pretty relaxed. Maybe I can stand. And you're standing for a while and like, oh, I feel pretty relaxed. Maybe I can sit down. And then you're sitting for a while, like, oh, I feel pretty relaxed. I bet I could lie down. And you lie down. And that was his simile for when we find that our mind is very restless. rather than saying, okay, I've got to relax. I got to relax. Om. Get up and bring your level of physical activity in line with your mental activity. But as you get this kind of synchronicity on the walking path, you find that naturally both the mind and the body are starting to slow down, yeah, and are starting to link up, and you're starting to be aware of what's going on. And this will naturally bring you to a state of, wow, okay, I feel pretty good. I think I'd like to do some sitting meditation now. And that's the goal. That's what we can use it for, yeah? You might not get this deep samadhi, but if you've been cultivating mindfulness, it's not going to disappear the second you sit down on your cushion. In fact, that mindfulness is going to be with you as you prepare for sitting meditation, yeah? Okay. So these are some thoughts. I hope that's useful. Again, I'm not much of a technique guy. I think I could have just said, oh yeah, grab 20 to 30 paces, walk back and forth, pay attention to your footsteps. And we do that. You know, that's the technique that you'll get on a meditation retreat, right? Because you need 30 people to be able to do that together at the same time for the next half hour and then come back and not have gotten lost. So you can't do the expanded technique of walking meditation, the foundation of walking meditation. But when it's you working this into your own practice, and you have a lot more latitude, like see what actually assists your meditation. Yeah, what actually helps you cultivate right effort, right mindfulness, and right samadhi. Yeah. And that will be the best approach to walking meditation. So before we wrap it up, I just wanted to give an opportunity if anybody had any questions. Don't want to, we might not loop back around to this topic for a while. So I want to make sure everybody feels good. Yeah. We're all eager to get out there for walking meditation. Well, too bad it's dark. It's nighttime. Okay. Then best wishes for your practice and happy new moon.
Andamayam Dhammakataya Sadhu Karam Dhammase Sadhu 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 Anumodami.